Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it, Your girl said he broke her heart. Your boy said she didn't love him from the start. It was never meant to be. You ask me how I know, cause everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it,
What's up, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Everybody's Talking About It, the show where we talk about everything that everybody's talking about. I am your boy, Mark J, and I am back for Season 5, Episode 5. We are talking about For Better or For Worse. It's insane, but I want to talk about this because it's some things that I'm learning as I get older, and I want to talk about it. But first and foremost, I gotta introduce everybody around the table. My bro E at the end, Eternal is here. What's up, bro?
Yeah! Hey.
Get out of the show.
He just did a lot.
But how you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm here. Ready
Appreciate
to
you
drink.
coming back to the table.
Yeah.
Jay! Y'all remember her from Season 1. She is back to join us for Season 5.
I'm back.
How's it feel?
It feels good to be back.
Oh my God. You was here with me when I birthed the idea. You were one of the first people I called.
I saw it come up.
And there we are. And now you're
Yeah,
back.
5
Let's
seasons
talk.
in.
I appreciate you, baby. Thank you.
Aw.
Vicky.
What up?
My friend.
Hi.
Hi, friend.
Hi.
She just celebrated a birthday, y'all. The big 4-0, baby. Looking like she's 2-0, baby. It is what it is. I probably already said this in previous episodes because she's been on the show since like episode 1. But hey, shout out, I Can Never Live It Down because you look that amazing.
Oh, thank
And
you.
you're so fucking talented.
Wait till I
And I love
get
it.
me.
So how's it feel?
Never
Ready to talk about For Better or For Worse?
I can't.
Because you've
wait.
been around. You know, so you know
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point
yeah,
what
yeah.
you want in life, what you don't want in life.
Absolutely.
And then now to the lover boy himself, who's all pro love.
Yo.
He's pro love. Like, you can't say shit to Cupid down there. Give it up for my best friend, Rodney. What's up?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
So everything he says is going to be biased toward love. Like, he's just love. L-O-V, love. He's in love. So that's it. I wanted to talk about this, honestly, y'all, because it's like as you get older, you start realizing. I had an interesting conversation. The reason why I wanted to do this topic, I'll tell you why. It stemmed from me and Rodney took a trip for our birthdays in November. And I had a really, really deep conversation with my friend Brianna, who everybody knows, about like relationships and like settling down and, you know, finding your time. And then it got into like it automatically got into like like a debate. I could say a debate where it was.
It was probably a debate with you.
No.
It was probably a debate.
Yeah, it was definitely.
You already know, Jazz. You already know, Jazz. It was all of us against you.
It was a debate because I feel like
really
a lot. So I think how I worded it was wrong.
Okay.
You know, so I had to check it and be like, all right, this is what it is. But for one, I'm not a person that will say, oh, you always have to check. You don't love yourself enough when it comes to For Better or Worse. But it's always about knowing your worth. So for me, I've gotten to a point in my life where I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I'm able to provide. I know what I'm able to give of myself. So I don't want to settle for less just to figure that shit out for you. You know what I mean? And that's not always like a bad thing. And that's what I was trying to get y'all to see in that time, is that it's not about, oh, yeah, you don't love yourself. It's just about now sometimes you have to know your value, what you're worth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you know for a fact that this is not something that I would like to tolerate in my life, then why do it? Just to say I'm giving love a try? Or, I mean, because you know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jazz, let's speak to it a little bit.
For better or for worse, I think there are certain things I'm just not dealing with. That's just the reality of it. Like, and that comes from experience in relationships, right? So some stuff I'm like, absolutely not. Like one of my, one thing I can't deal with is a guy who can't communicate.
Communication is
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Communicate effectively.
Yeah, that's
clear
another
about
thing.
that. Because,
My God.
like, in previous relationships, it's like, we going like this,
Yeah.
you know? So, like, I can't hang in there with it. That is, like, something like today, as a single woman, not happening.
Not fucking
Not
happening.
happening. Non-negotiable for me. It is a non-negotiable.
Mhm.
So, certain things, like, no, I'm not hanging in there with you if you can't communicate with me. With me effectively.
Mhm.
Like,
That's fair.
Vicky?
Yeah.
So with me, believe it or not, so when I got married, it was all a religious thing.
Mhm.
It was because I was a youth leader, a drama director. I got pregnant by some random, and they wanted to force me to get married.
Mm.
So when I got a divorce, it was like, okay. You know, it was one of those things like you know, it's first they forced me. It's better to marry than to burn, you know, on that time. And I said, well, shit, I might just have to burn.
I might.
It's hot in here. You know what I'm saying?
Cue
So,
Usher.
but I did get married, right?
Mhm.
And honestly, the marriage ended as soon as I got married. It was never a marriage.
Got you.
I separated from him maybe 6 months to a year on end,
Mhm.
and it took us 4 years to actually get a divorce.
Got you.
And I divorced him because I wasn't in love with him. I just got pregnant. And it was one of those things where, you know, like, oh, I'm married, and then it's the church, and they're saying this, and they're saying that, better to marry than to burn, and you're scared, da-da-da-da. But that's really what it was. But I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm so happy I did it because that nigga's an asshole. Okay? I'm
And
so
sometimes
glad.
that's just
And
what
that's
it
the truth.
is.
I was like, is this what I
You know what people with the hardest part, for better or worse, is the lack of preparation for certain things, because you don't prepare for sicknesses. You don't prepare for their
Yeah.
parents getting elderly, or their children becoming sick if they had previous children,
Yeah.
or we don't account for those kinds of things. Their financial status at the time, or the
Yeah.
status that we don't even know about, that they could be in debt. We don't
Yeah.
ever consider these things.
Yeah.
We just always go for what we see, you know, what we take for face value.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the hardest part of the for
It is.
better or for
Well,
worse
let
thing,
me-
because when you start knowing your worth,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, okay, I don't want to have to deal with this because this is already something that I'm dealing with self. Then now I have to take on yours as well
Yeah.
for the sake of love, is what my always problem is.
I don't always think it's
Love
love,
for you,
though.
friend.
I think a lot of people
Look at it
have
again.
this unhealthy, and I say this to people all the time, and I get a lot of pushback from it, an unhealthy sense of loyalty.
I'll knock all this out.
I'll be the first. Like, you know,
I knocked this whole fucking table.
people will be like, you know, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
shoot
like
till the wheels fall off. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm getting out this joint when the first will pop off.
Yeah.
Why? Because I see where this is
The
going.
first bump?
Hop on
No, not the first
Can
pop.
I
I said when
play?
the first wheel pop
Oh,
up. This
okay,
joint,
alright,
because
okay.
they'll be like
Can I
this.
play
And then I
devil's
gotta
advocate
go.
on that? Not that you're wrong. I agree with you. But here's where, and this is where, well, since you were married, what I was telling them when we went to Miami for our birthdays, what I said to them was, I saw a TikTok video where a guy or a preacher or something was basically saying that marriage or relationships are two people that decided that they wanted to serve each other. And the problem is where our marriages and our relationships don't work out is because we have people deciding that they're coming to the table with what they're coming to, and you're supposed to serve them. Well, who the heck are you supposed to serve? You know what I'm saying? So, her and I are together. I come and I learn what her love language is so that I can serve it. And then she learns what mine is so that she can serve me. So, she likes quality time. She likes to be held. I don't really need that, but because I'm in a relationship with her, I'm going to serve that. I don't need that. I need words of affirmation. I need her to rub my back and tell me,
We're going to
you
talk
know
about
what?
this on a later episode.
You know what I mean? I need her to tell me, you know what? I love you. Thank you for doing that. If you wasn't here, it would have never got done. I need that. So, two people in a relationship, y'all supposed to be serving each other. And I think that's why our relationship, when I was trying to tell my friend, it may not be working because have you been serving in your relationships, or are you expecting everybody to come serve you because of what you bring to the table?
Now that's a big thing now.
Everybody wanna be served.
Everybody
Yeah,
nowadays.
I feel like a lot of people get that, and also we get so stuck on the present form of who you're dating, who you're seeing, that you forget or don't even think about the future aspect of who this person could become. Like, yeah, your love language could be this right now, but in time it can change also.
So
Remember, we had that conversation. Because I've had that conversation with Rodney before, though. I've said this. I said that we don't. He said he disagreed with me. He said, yeah, we should marry for right now because that's what we are. You know, that's what we have is right now.
Right, yeah.
But I'm the kind of person that always says we have to start looking 10 years ahead and 10 years ahead of that and 10 years ahead of that, because now you can kind of see where you're going, because we all have a goal, things we want to accomplish, where we see ourselves, and a lot of times that doesn't kind of include the other person's other things, like you know, the things that they may go through that might deter us from getting to the things that we ultimately want. Yeah, we can ultimately say, yeah, I want to be in a relationship and I want children and I want a family, but I want to do that while I'm traveling Paris or while I'm touring in Milan or while I'm doing that. But now this person now has an 80-year-old sick mother who they have to now stay with and care for and live with and be a part of. And then
Been
what
there and
happens?
done it. And because my love language is words of affirmation, when I was pulled to the side and I got the recognition, you know what, I thank you so much because I know it's hard and I appreciate just
that
the
meant
fact
everything to you.
that meant everything to me, and I do it all over again.
But you don't feel
Learn the love language and serve it so that when the for better or for worse
agree with
comes,
that.
you won't even mind it. But you too busy trying to be served all day long.
I can agree with her. I can agree with her.
I can
in my
agree with
relationship
that.
now. Let me tell you
I
why.
can agree.
That's a good argument.
Because in my relationship now, he needs words of affirmation. I like, you know, all the affectionate stuff and the gifts and all that old extra stuff. Now all I need to say is thank you. And he be happy as hell. I'm talking about you be like, oh, that's all you needed? Thank you. Say no.
It doesn't make the relationship so much easier.
But
that's
it's a
a
certain
really
thing.
good
It's not
point.
perfect, but it's a certain thing.
In a previous relationship, like after the breakup, we had a conversation, a very long conversation about like not giving each other what each other needed. And one of it really came down to came down to our love languages, right? Like my love languages are quality time and receiving gifts. And I ain't talking about $1 million gifts, which would be nice, but I'm just saying not that.
The thought that counts.
Right, I'm really big on that,
Yeah.
right? And so for him, it was words of affirmation. And I didn't know that. I didn't recognize it at first, because to me it was like, it's like, oh, thank you for like washing the dishes, and I'm like I don't need to. I mean, I didn't say that in my head. I'm like, why are you thanking me for that? Like to me, that I don't want to say feels dumb, but to me it just feels like that's like I didn't need that. I'm like okay, cool, but he needed that, and I didn't realize that. So when I didn't say thank you for that, now it's like now I got these I'm getting attitude and I'm getting pushback, and I'm like. But I'm confused. Like, I'm thankful that you did it, but I didn't realize that I needed to, like, confirm that from every time. Yeah. And again, like, it may be, thank you for taking my car, or thank you for putting gas. I mean, I feel like a lot of and I feel like a lot of guys are like that. I feel like I've encountered like a lot of guys who share they need those words of
what we're
affirmation.
talking about is also a case-by-case situation, too.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, what I think is that people don't consider is that some people are in unique types of situations.
Yes.
Like for me, I've lived a life previous to the life that I'm living today, where it was where I really did a whole 180 from what 10 years ago looked like. You know what I'm saying? So in that case, I started to groom that person and nurture that person and love that person and give time to that person to where it's now where I set new goals for that person that I became. And now it's like I have to now see those things to fruition. And yeah, it would be nice to be in a relationship. It would be great to be in that kind of situation. And I'm not saying that I want to be self-serving or I need somebody to serve me, but I also have things that I desire from myself that I would like to accomplish while I'm on the top side of this earth without distractions. I'm not saying that distractions won't come in my own personal life, but then to have non-expectant those things come in your life from somebody else's life is so hard, because it's like I really put myself on the right track and the right path to grow myself for better.
Yeah.
For better for myself. I want more for myself.
But I think the difference is like you're doing this as a single man,
Right.
Right. So I think if you were in a relationship, right, like a lot of people who like marry young, right, or are in these long-term relationships, I feel like if you're in a position where you're dating someone long-term or you're married, then all those things you just said about nurturing yourself, then that energy needs to be poured into them as
But
well.
here's the problem, Jazz. We're not even at that age of being qualified as marrying young anymore. Like,
No,
we're now
no,
past the point.
no,
I'm not even going to lie.
No,
We're now past the
I said that to your point of
But I'm
you
saying,
need to
the
be a
reason why
different
I say
person.
that is because
What's next?
now the expectancy is different.
Right.
So when you get married at 21, it's like you already know we're probably going to build together. When you get married at 32 and 34 and 40 and all these years, now you're expecting to come with something at this point.
So let me.
Like at this point. So now either you're going to come with baggage or you're going to come with you have your shit going on. That's like the two types when you're getting married after a certain point in your 30s, shall I say, and having kids in your 30s and all of that, because now life has even taken for both of y'all. Whether, either you started a career or this person, because 9 times out of 10 you ain't marrying nobody that's working at Kmart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You not.
Nope.
So, right. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
So, you're probably going to meet
I
a
mean,
man
he
that's
own it.
in that's probably fresh in his career or that's blossoming in his career at that
No,
point.
I
So
agree.
his priorities are probably, totally different.
But then that comes into term like, okay, well, if your priorities are different, do our priorities align?
Yeah.
But then you still think about that
Now,
today,
that's cool.
and I think now I don't think
That's
we
an
may have done it as much as we were younger. Like, okay, do our priorities align today, and will they align later? We don't really officially know, right? But I think it goes back to what Rodney is saying: 2 people who are making a conscious choice to be together. So I think that there has to be some sense of. I think if you get married, personally, like you should, if you saying those vows, you should be in it for better or for worse.
I agree.
But I do understand what you're saying because I feel like I've been on the side of that where it's like you get hit with something that's crazy and you're like, can I actually deal with this and it not be me? But if it is you, like then what? Would you gotta? I think it's like thinking about how your partner,
How my partner would react if it
right?
was me.
Because it's like if it was like you said a sick parent, that's hard to deal with.
It is
right?
very hard.
And
Rodney's
nobody
been
wants
down that road.
nobody.
But I'm
wants to
telling
do
y'all
it.
as a person who's been down the road,
Yeah,
like we
it's not
just
easy.
spent the last 10, 20 minutes talking about, when the preliminaries and the prerequisites are met,
Yeah.
when we both come together, we have an interest in each other, and we
It
serve,
don't feel like a
and
burden.
we
It doesn't
serve
feel like
a
each
burden.
other.
Exactly.
It's not a
No,
burden.
I
But hold
agree.
on, before we go on, I
You
want
can
to
make
get
it through
Eternal's
that.
view because he's the youngest at the table. Do you ever feel like you had like a time limit, or did you ever feel rushed?
Nah, I used to. I used
Okay.
to think that I was in a long-term relationship, and I was starting to get a lot of questions, right? So like everybody asking, when y'all gonna get married? When y'all get married? But my thing was always a feeling of just where we are in the relationship, because I wanted to meet a certain point before I wanted to take that decision head on. I just didn't feel like the challenges we had within that relationship early on was in a condition where I could see growth in the future to say, all right, I'm gonna marry this person
should
and
do
it'll
that.
grow later on when it hasn't grown. I've seen it get worse over time, so I just think that's not gonna work.
So you're not a toxic person. A lot of people at that age is like we are prone to continue on with toxic relationships. We've all been in pretty much a toxic relationship at some point in our lives where we finally got to a point in life where we can identify it. And start saying, look, this ain't gonna be my for better or for motherfucking worse. I know that for sure.
Right.
You're a motherfucker, so it is.
I saw that up.
Vicky, so what did you learn once it was all over?
Man, honestly, because of how my situation was, because of the religious aspect of it, because a lot of people do get married because of religion, you ain't gonna burn. You ain't gonna burn. So them stuff. I wish.
Let me tell you this. Let me speak to that too. And I don't even, because I'm not literally like a religious person, as much as I used to be, but I always say that people say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it is, you never know what these people are carrying on the inside of them. So when you say things like that, like they're going to burn and that child you're carrying is a sin and all of that stuff, you just don't know what you're speaking on.
Right.
And that is crazy to me.
Right.
Like how you do that. You don't know what these people are carrying. Right? And the life form that could come and the blessings and the of magnitude that can come from that child that they're carrying. And her son is bomb. He's a high school graduate in the fucking Africa. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say shit like that. Life and death lies with the power of the tongue. So you gotta watch that shit.
But no, if I could do,
You know what I mean?
you so stupid. I don't know. Well, I can tell you what I would do different. differently. So like I said, I'm married because of what somebody else told me, because of a fear of a religious
Burning in
saying,
hell.
burning in
That's
hell.
what-
I would not have done it.
I would have been
because
scared shitless
I
too.
wasted my first marriage.
You know, it's
Like,
kind of hot.
Yeah.
I wasted my first opportunity. Like, you know, walking down that aisle was difficult because I'm pregnant and I'm doing it because everybody else wanted me to do it. And then at the same time, I had to like force this belief in my head, you want to do this. But then you looking at this guy that you didn't even really like, you just ended up having sex with him one night. Like, it happened. And let me tell y'all why it happened real quick. Just go me real quick.
No,
It only happened because he was somebody that I worked with. Very nice guy, very nice at the time. For like begging me, you should let me cook for you. Let me cook. So I let him cook for me one day. Cook
And
for
the
me.
food
We
was
started.
that
The
good?
food was bomb. West Indian. He was West Indian, y'all. So no.
You know what? You know what?
he was
After this
Trinidadian.
last spoonful, you're getting some pussy. You're getting some pussy.
I was like, okay.
Hey.
So he cooked for me, and honestly, no, he lied his way in. This is how that when I didn't like him, he come in. So it was kind of like a movie. He like knocked on the door one night when it was raining, said his sister put him out. I let him move in because I felt bad. And we ended up sleeping in the same room for like a long time. And this also goes back to something somebody said. I'm not sure what it was.
better
But
or for worse.
I was very naive. I was very naive at this time. And I was like, I feel so bad.
I like
because-
Tom.
Yeah, he was helping me with so many different things, like as a friend. So when
Don't be my friend. Like Tom. You got the Tubi your life story.
Tubi is rough. Tubi
is hard.
I love a good Tubi movie.
I'm gonna tell you something about Tubi.
The guy shot her, and the girl said,
and that was all. And that's all you got.
You didn't even get a pow.
"No power, no
That
nothing."
wasn't in
He
the
came in
budget.
and
That
said,
wasn't in the budget.
and then said,
It wasn't in the budget.
"Wow, you got something on Tubi, don't you?"
It's coming.
Oh, what is it? We want to know. We want to watch
She
our
don't listen to that
friends
low
on
budget
Tubi.
shitty channel right now. I'm playing.
Use our friends for better or for worse.
Right,
So if you want Tubi or if you want
It's
Lifetime,
work.
we
He's
got
coming on Tubi. He's gonna be on some shit. Oh, my man cheated on me on Christmas, and now I'm fucking a reindeer on Christmas Day in a Snow White hat. So, I don't know.
Tubi had you in the same
But
scene
go
with
ahead.
a
I'm
bald
sorry.
head and dress.
We got way off topic. Go ahead, Vicky. I'm
But
sorry.
no, that was it. No, he just snuck his way in. I let him move in. We slept in the same room for a while. Ended up getting pregnant. Long story short, I was so naive, y'all.
Was he really kicked out though?
No. So that was the issue.
He lied.
He lied his way in, and I found out later, 4 months pregnant, that he was not kicked
He
out of
is
his
the
house.
goat,
He was a homosexual.
He's very much the GOAT, and he got 2 out of me. But let me tell you something, nigga. So let me stop. It's my top. So no, let you know.
You got 2 babies.
2 fine babies.
She got 2 babies by the head.
Oh.
Yes, 2. And you won't be getting any
But
more.
seriously,
You want to get any more?
She said, let's confirm that on camera.
So is anybody at the table looking forward to marriage?
I am.
not marriage, but
Not
You
marriage.
got marriage.
no. Here's the thing.
A
Here's the
strong
thing.
commitment.
Right. So I'm okay. Y'all ever had like that family member that's been with the same person forever and
And
they
then-
never get
Yeah,
married?
So this is it?
I'm
cool with
I'm
that.
fine with Oprah and Steph.
So you
Kind of
want to hear people say, Rodney, you want people to say, well, that's Rodney's friend again. That's his
The
Rodney's friend.
special friend in the obituary.
Oh yeah, Rodney's special friend.
Along with some other special
When he
friends.
died, they go, that's Rodney's
Yeah.
special friend.
Because I'm not for. I mean, and marriage is great. The wedding is great. I don't really care for all of that.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Because my love language is words of affirmation. I'm really in for the idea of just the connection. I can care less about a ceremony and the glitz and
When your
glamour.
birthday?
November 6th.
Okay, I get it.
No, let's have a conversation.
Whoa, what you mean?
And
So
I'm
that's
the-
pretty much a water sign thing. Water signs are very
Emotional.
So they're emotional but not emotional. And they're very intellectual. So they like so that they like that stuff. But me, I'm a Capricorn, I'm earth sign, so I need some shit
I was the
happening.
designated
Need you to
driver.
show me.
Listen,
Show me
when we were
something.
growing up, I was the designated driver. When we would drive home, Brian would be so fucked, he was shaking his boots every fucking time. Oh, Marv, pay attention to the road, Marv. Oh, Marv.
You were drinking.
I'm sick of
I just
shit.
wanted to live.
I just wanted to live for better or for worse.
Whatever for what.
You ever seen that movie where you ever seen the 48 video version?
Yes,
And
I
the white
did.
woman that was driving the car all drunk and shit, and she was selling
yeah.
it. That was me. I'd be like, shut up. I'd be like, shut up. Fuck that.
Oh,
That's the other thing.
you was the one
That was
everybody
me.
had to
That's
draw,
me.
nigga.
I'm riding by hating cars like,
Hey.
I'd be like, but did you die? You know what I mean?
Yes, internally.
He got home. The car would be all fucked up, but I'd be like, good night.
Oh,
It's like,
man.
no.
But
That's
I think
crazy.
Ronnie just brought up a really good point though. Like, does for better or worse go for like friendships too? And how are you more inclined to have that with your friend than
Right.
a significant
No.
other?
No.
Absolutely
No.
not.
I'm not now, especially in this day and age. At this point in life, it's not about cutting people off. I remember I used to say that I will cut you off, but it's not about
That's
cutting
his
people
favorite
off.
line.
It's no longer about cutting people off. It's about growth. At this point, if you are doing anything to deter my motherfucking growth, we have a motherfucking problem. And that's all I'm saying to you. And it's like some people in your life, they just don't serve a purpose anymore. And it's no longer the point where you're like, okay, we're beefing. I don't have beef with anybody. I don't hate anybody. I wish everybody the best of luck if we no longer are in that. But at the end of the day, growth is growth. At the end of the day, you have served your purpose in my life. This goes for friendships that have lasted 20 years, 25 years. It's just we've come to a halt.
Yeah.
We have nothing to really talk about. And it's not about for better or for worse anymore, because it's not like you this is just about an isolated incident or something like that. You've served your purpose in my life. I thank you for the years. I thank you for the part that you contributed in that time. And when we see each other, we'll always be cordial. We'll always be love. It will always be respect. But at the end of the day, we have nothing else. We have nothing. I have nothing left for you. That's all. I just have nothing left. There's nothing there.
I get it. I've been
There's
there.
nothing there that can sustain us.
Nothing
And that's
else.
the same thing with whether it's in a marriage, relationship, whatever it is. When the time is up, it's the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck what
I agree.
nobody say.
Yeah.
Like, do not
Yo.
say anywhere.
And you have to
that
let it
that's
go.
And you gotta
Because
let it
the longer
go.
you keep
People
them
are
around, it
staying in
just gets
relationships
worse.
for their
It gets
children.
worse.
People are staying in relationships for title reasons,
Yeah.
for fucking security reasons, for fucking family
Secrets.
reasons. So many fucking for secrets.
Y'all can have
all
it.
kinds of
Not the
shit.
secret.
Let it the fuck
I
go.
have my secrets, honey.
Because let me tell you what's going to be fucked up in the end. Your mental health,
Yes.
your fucking
First.
well-being,
Yeah.
even you as an individual,
You
you'll
make
lose
stunt-
your
yeah,
identity
stunts.
in trying to hold on to something that is
Yeah.
no longer serving you
Yeah.
a purpose at all. I've seen so many people stay in relationships for the wrong reasons. I one day, I'm gonna say this. I asked my mom a question. I said, "Mom, what did you want to do ultimately in life before you had children?" Because my mom was married to my sister and brother's father. And she said that she wanted to be a nurse. And I said, well, what stopped you? And she said, well, I got married to, your sister and brother's father. He went to school, graduated, did his thing in the service, and I took home the kids. And I said, well, you didn't go to school? I mean, you got to
That
be a
was
nurse.
it.
But I had the kids. And it's kind of like, so he went to school, bettered himself.
Yeah.
You stayed home with the kids.
Like,
And
another thing I don't
then,
get
fast
from-
forward to 2 years later, he leaves you there with those two kids alone.
with his degree.
So now,
With a degree.
you asked yourself that fucking question. Is the for better or worse really worth it? Is it really do?
It's not.
And you lose identity of who
It's
you
not.
are because
Oh my
you've
God,
given
that's
so
the
much
truth.
to somebody else.
Right.
To the
No,
point
that-
where
And that's not
you
just
don't
in
have
marriage.
anything
That's-
left for
Period.
you.
So Harp and Robin.
Ooh.
Who?
Harp and Robin, we had that conversation. If you have watched the Best Man final
Oh,
series,
yes.
it is exactly that.
Okay.
When you have poured so much to
that
watch
was
somebody
rough.
else
Yeah.
succeed and grow,
Yeah.
and you are left with nothing.
But you just like, I'm like,
Yeah, he threw it out there like
So
it's
a
like,
part of that,
I mean, I
though,
know now.
a part of that story, I can't say that it was all Harp's fault. I can't say.
the
I
only
can't
part
blame
that I
him.
wouldn't give
Yeah.
him is that she should have been packed her shit.
That too, but at the same time too, even think about this. I think she played herself because what was Jordan?
Yeah.
She come on now. If you couldn't feel that energy, sis, you had to be slow. Like, let's be clear.
But let me
And
tell you
I
this.
blame him
You
too
ever,
because
but y'all know these facts. You ever see something where you got like, you might deal with somebody that might got a high school crush that never really got scratched. You know, that high school itch that you really never scratched.
No,
So
but
you
he
kind
went
of
right
like
to
looking
her
at it.
afterwards.
She was looking at it like that. That's why
She
I
tried
didn't blame her. She loved him. She fell in love with him. You know what I mean? It wasn't till he was
She wasn't no
reunited.
Scorpio though.
She wasn't, because if she
He would have
was,
sniffed that.
No, well,
out.
first of all, she wasn't no Scorpio because he be
Somebody's
dead.
funeral would've been
Listen,
next.
he wasn't no Scorpio because messing with y'all. He be dead, she be dead, everybody
Everybody
dead.
dead.
Everybody dead.
Just
Scorpio,
everybody.
Hey,
Scorpio's a murderer.
just
Yeah.
kill them. And we
we heard you do it.
But you have to remember, and this is why we end
That's
this
hilarious.
episode. I would say this. I appreciate all y'all coming out and talking about this, but I'm never saying marriage is a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
out
absolutely.
there that's celebrating anniversaries, marriages, long years, who have engaged, just got married, whatever. Congratulations. Best of luck to you in all of your endeavors and all of your
Sorry
growth as
for
you go
you.
through the years.
Sorry,
But shut up. I will say this: always maintain a sense of who you are in that relationship. Support your spouse. Be there for your spouse. I'm never saying that, but when you are giving up the eyes for the us, you have to realize that that's exactly what you are doing. That's exactly what you're doing. Like Rodney said, I do believe that marriage is a sacred part of life that you go through, and I think that those vows are in place for a reason. I really, really do. That's why I haven't taken the big leap yet, because I don't know if I can definitely nail all the hammer on the head with all of them. But I can honestly say it is a sacred thing. And to everybody out there that's doing it, like I said, congratulations. Keep tuning in to everybody's talking about it. Give it up for Eternal, Jazz, Vicky, Rodney. We will see y'all next week for episode 6 when we talk about Too Grown for That. See ya.